Hi guys, Brad Roby here, software trainer at Iceberg Digital. Today we're going to go through the marketing training. So today we're going to go through how to manage your content, how to create content, how to create email templates and the different things that we can do there, and how to manage your newsletters. Let's get into it. Okay then guys, so the first thing I want to talk about is the content and managing your content and creating content within Lifecycle. To do this, we go down to Marketing and Autopilot, then we click on Content. And here it brings up a list of all the content that has been created. Okay, we can see the views, okay, the total visits. The number on the right is the visits by known contacts, so contacts that are in your system. Okay, with this content, you can share here with this button. Choose where you would like to share it to and click share. If the content has been shared, then we can see the shares here and we can see that they're green, they are successful. If it shows up red, that means it's unsuccessful, and we can see that this one has been shared to Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. Okay, we can also email our content out by clicking this here. It shows you the mail template preview, and then you can click here and email this out to an audience. We can also edit our content by clicking the box with the pencil in it, and we can also remove our content. The content that you can't remove is the content that is created for you by Lifecycle. Lifecycle creates 4 pieces of content for you a month, which goes out in your newsletter. You can then create content and add that onto your newsletter, up to 15 articles in total per month that can go on the newsletter. Unlimited how many pieces of content you actually create, but the amount that can go on the newsletter is 15. Now, we also have here the date that the content was created and the date that it was published. And we also have this button here, show on blog. Now, the only time that show on blog should not be ticked is if you are halfway through creating your content. Maybe you're creating your content and something comes up, you take a phone call, you have to go away. Okay, that is why when this should not be turned on. Okay, when this is off, this means nobody can see your content. Even if someone gets emailed a link to the content, okay, it's just going to show up with the blog homepage. So always make sure when your content is finished, if you want people to see it, always show on blog. Okay. Now let's talk about creating content. So to create content, we go to this button here, create new content. Now from here, it's pretty simple. We have our article details. We have our heading, our big juicy heading, and our introduction text. And then below that, we have where we put in our content. Okay, it works a lot like WordPress. We can change the size of our font, bold, italics, underlined. We can have a strike through. We can alter whether it's centered, left, off to the left or off to the right. We can have bullet points and things like that. And we can also add in hyperlinks and pictures and videos. So I'm just going to show you how to add in a hyperlink very quickly. You would just write out your text. For example, you could write click here. Highlight that text. Click the little link here, the little chain link. And then you would just copy and paste the URL into there. So for example, I'll take one quickly. Okay, click save. And then we can see we have a hyperlink here. Okay, it's blue, it's underlined, we have a hyperlink. So when anybody is reading that content, If they click on this, it will take them to the page of the web link that you have just put in there. We can also add in photos and videos. Okay, we add in a photo, it just takes us to our photos. Open. And the photo goes in there. And with videos, we just take the YouTube link. So we'd have the video from YouTube, take the web link, copy and paste that into there, and you would have a video inside your content. Now, over on the right, we have the settings of the content. So we have the article live date. So if this was scheduled to go out at a certain time, you would put that date in there, and the article will go live on that date. Article end date, it's not something that's very common. It's probably going to be used for time-sensitive content, maybe something that's seasonal. But really what we want is people who are reading our content and on our blog page to binge. Okay, we want them to just keep reading our content and being aware of our brand and stuff. So an article end date, if we're removing content, you're kind of limiting that opportunity for that to happen with our contacts and people who are reading the blog. Now, every article must have at least one photo or video, okay? And we recommend that the size of the photo is 1,000 pixels wide by 525 high. Every piece of content must have at least a photo or a video. The reason that we like our photos to be 1,000 pixels wide by 525 high is because when we start to post onto the socials, especially Facebook, Facebook only likes its landscape photos because it kind of crops it and makes it look a little bit different. And if we're putting in portrait photos, it's just going to stretch and distort it, and it's not going to look very, very good. Now, if your photo is over 1,000 pixels wide and 525 high, well, then that's okay. It can be resized. You're not going to lose the integrity of the photo. If it's under 1,000 pixels and 525 high, then we're going to start losing integrity when we start to stretch the image to make it fit. So just bear that in mind when we're uploading our photos. When we're uploading a video, it's very, very simple. We just put in the YouTube link and it's done. And it acts as like our cover. Okay, so now underneath our content, we can add tags to our content. So when we add a tag to our content, what this does is when a contact comes to read this specific type of content, okay, whatever tag you put inside of this content, the contact that reads this content is going to receive that tag. Okay, so we can start to group our contacts that way. Also, the tags in content group the content itself. So when this goes out on your blog page, you will have a list of suggested articles to read when reading one specific piece of content. You have the content in the middle, and down the right, you have the suggested articles to read next. Now, if you have a bunch of content with the same tag in, then when you read one of those pieces of content, the suggested articles will be the other articles with that same tag. Okay, so bear that in mind when using tags. Next, we have our social settings. So we can change the way that the article is presented on our different socials. So we have a Facebook title. So we can change the title of the content specifically for Facebook. Now, when we're adding titles in for Facebook, we know by research that it generates more clicks when it has emojis in there. And it's the thing that gets kind of cut off with the 3 dots. So we like to keep it nice and juicy. I'll just type something in as an example now. And we can add the emojis by clicking this little smiley face here. Okay. We can also edit our LinkedIn title. We know that LinkedIn is a little bit more professional, so you could change the title for LinkedIn, and we could also change the title for Twitter. And we know that with Twitter, we like hashtags. Okay. And we know that with the hashtags, we don't put spaces in the hashtags if we want them to work properly. Now, we can also add a default image for the socials and a default media description for the socials. We can also decide where we want to share this page to. Okay, so providing that we have the account set up within Lifecycle, we can choose where we want to share to Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter from the start. As you can see, if you don't have the account set up within Lifecycle, it's going to say no account found. This is a test account. We don't have the LinkedIn set up on this one. Now, at the bottom, okay, we can select the funnel and the profile. And for me to explain this, I'm going to jump over to a vendor funnel and explain how they work. Okay guys, so here we are at a vendor funnel, okay? And here at the top we have awareness, okay? So this is a list of contacts that are aware of your brand, that have seen your content and are aware of your brand. The content for these type of contacts is usually educational and entertaining. Next we have interest. So these are people that have read specific types of content. So these could be specific things about properties, etc. Next, we have consideration. So these are people which have given you information. Okay, these are contacts that have given you information and that want to work with you. Okay, and then next we have intent. So these are people who have booked appointments. Okay, the people who are really, really serious, appointments have booked. So now I've explained the funnels, I'm going to jump back to the content and see how we can kind of manipulate that with our content. Okay guys, so here we are back at the content page and we're going to choose the funnel and the profile. So the two funnels we have are interest and awareness. So I'm going to talk about awareness first. So awareness is just people who are aware of your brand and what you do and read your content. So as I said before, this content is going to be educational and entertaining and not very, very specific about what you do. So we choose awareness and then we choose our profile. Now, because in awareness, the content that we're creating for these people is usually kind of generic and educational and entertaining, we're usually always going to choose general. We're not going to target specific people if we're still in that awareness phase. Okay, we can do if we want to, but more than likely, if we're choosing awareness and it's educational and entertaining content, then we're going to choose general. Okay, now we're going to talk about interest. So these are people who are interested in specifically what you do. Okay, so this is how it translates over to the funnels. So the people who are interested, then on your profile, you're going to choose things like landlords, tenants, and buyers and vendors. This content is going to be specific to them because they are going to be interested in what you do. And when they read that content, they come from awareness down to interest. Okay, hopefully from that, they go into consideration where they start to give you information. And from there, hopefully they book an appointment. So that is the content side of things, guys, and that is creating content. Now I'm going to jump over to newsletter management. So to do that, we go to marketing and autopilot and newsletters. And here we can see that we have a list of our newsletters that have gone out. We send out our newsletter every month on the 29th of every month on your behalf. We have 4 pieces of content that we create for you. If you decide you don't want this content, it's all or nothing. You can have it all or you don't have it all. We can't pick and choose between the content that's provided for you. You can add up to 15 articles of your own onto the newsletter, and we can look at the newsletter stats here. Okay, so we have a few here, total sent and the amount of content that was in it. And we open this up, and here we have a more detailed look of where this content went and what was done with it. So we have the number of contacts the newsletter was sent to, and you have the list of contacts below. We have the number of contacts that have opened the newsletter. These figures are a little bit off because this is the test account. Yours will be much better. If we click that, then we have the list of the contacts that have opened the newsletter. We have number of contacts that have clicked on a link in a newsletter, and we can see those contacts when we click that. And then we've got the number of articles that appeared in the newsletter, and it shows you the 2 articles. So now I've gone through the newsletter management. I want to talk to you about creating email templates. So to create an email template, we go marketing and autopilot, then we go email templates. Now from here we have a list of all of our email templates. We can search and we can edit from here. We can edit an email template by clicking the box with the pencil in it. We can also clone an email template. So this would be good for if you make a lot of similar emails but with just slight differences in them. Well, just clone one that's similar and make small edits, which saves you rather writing it all out again or getting both email templates open and copying and pasting it over and reorganizing everything. Just clone the template, rename it, and make your little edits to it, and then you still have both email templates. We can also delete templates. The templates that you can't delete are the templates such as the ones that go out with the market appraisal presentation and the ones for the appointments, etc., etc. Now I'm going to have a look at making a new template for you and how to create an email template. We click new template. We name the template. We add the subject. Okay, so this is the line that comes just underneath the name of the email when you receive it. We can add tags if we want to, so that people that read this, they become tagged and we can put those people in audiences. And then we can also choose a subscription category. Okay, if it's for a transaction, if it's an email about a special offer, if it's a monthly roundup, anything like that. So for this, we're just going to choose company news and we're going to create. Okay, so now we are at the email template builder. As you will see, we have our test account branding at the top. Yours will be branded to you, obviously, and that will come up on every email template you start to build. So you don't have to keep putting it in there and all your emails look same and look branded to you. Now, let's talk about adding content into our email. So the first thing I want to talk about is our content holders. So if we come to this middle button here, we have content holders. And what this does, it works in a way to hold your content in a certain place or split it so that things don't start to overlap and things don't start to go underneath things, and it keeps things in its own little box. So for example, if we selected this content holder and maybe we wanted an image on the left with some text on the right, we could do that. So I'm going to show you that quickly. We're going to go to content. Okay, and we want an image on the left. So we get image, we click and drag and put it into this content holder here. If we want text, we click and drag and we put it into this content holder here. Now we click this little picture here and it brings us to our image. Okay, our image settings. We can select the width. If it's a URL of an image, we can enter that in there. We can also make it a clickable link. So if somebody clicked that image, it would take them to a certain page. We can choose the position of where we want it inside our content holder. And if we just want an image there, we can just choose a file and stick an image in there and click open. Okay. And we can see that our image has gone into that content holder there. Now with the text, we just click on the text and we can do everything that we normally would do in Word and type here. Okay, we can make it bold, underlined, things like that. We can also add hyperlinks in again, and we can change our font size, etc. Now, let's talk about the types of content that we can have in here. So we can also add buttons. So to add a button, click and drag, and this is your button. So it could be a nice big visual, which is usually basically is just a link to something else. So it could be a link to a form, it could be a link to a blog page, it could be a link to your heads up property registration. And to do that, we just click on the button and we go to our button settings. So we can change the button text. And it changes the text. We can change the background color. We can change the font color. We can change the font size. We can choose whether we want to position it to the left, the center, or the right. And then we would enter in the URL of which we want this button to take us to, or to take the people we are sending this email out to. So whatever URL you enter in here, in this button URL, whenever someone receives this email and clicks this button, it's going to take them to this web address. Okay, back to content. We also have dividers. Okay, so we can add dividers in here, and it's basically just a line to split your content. Maybe if you have it in 3 parts, you can drag them in and it can split things up really nicely for you. Okay, and we can also change the color of them and the height of them. Now, once we're done with the content, we click Save Template, and the template is saved. And there we have it, guys. That's marketing training. So we've gone through how to manage our content, how to add content, how to add email templates, and how to work with email templates and our newsletter management. Now, it's important to remember that when you're using Lifecycle, there is a help button to help you with anything that you need, located on the right-hand side of the screen. Within this help button, we have all our articles, tutorials, videos, all our different types of content to help you when you're using Lifecycle. Now, if you're still struggling and you can't find what you're looking for, then just click the Contact Us button. You'll go straight through to support and we'll assist you as soon as we can. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's work smarter, not harder, and let's go and get those instructions.